Welcome to Senior Health Video. This video will talk about 3 early warning signs of stroke that can save your life. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to lose your voice, your balance, or even your sense of self in just a few seconds? Most people think it could never happen to them. They believe strokes are something that strike only the very old or the very sick. But the truth is far more terrifying. A stroke can steal your ability to speak, walk, or even recognize your loved ones in the blink of an eye. It does not knock on your door politely. It hits without warning, turning an ordinary moment into the fight of a lifetime. Every year, thousands of Americans wake up perfectly fine and end the day in an ambulance, unable to move half of their body or say a single word. Some never recover. Others spend years learning how to hold a fork or form a sentence again. A stroke is not just a medical emergency. It is a thief of time, independence, and memories. The cruelest part is that many victims could have been saved if someone nearby had recognized the warning signs just a few minutes earlier. So what if you could spot those signs before it is too late? What if you could act fast enough to save your brain, your speech, and your life? In this video, you will learn exactly how to do that. You will hear real stories of people who face the unthinkable and live to tell about it. You will understand why time is brain and how the right action in the right minute can change everything. Because knowledge is power, and in the case of a stroke, knowledge can be the difference between life and death. Stay with us because what you are about to learn could save your life or the life of someone you love. Time is brain. A stroke happens when blood flow to part of the brain is blocked, cutting off oxygen and nutrients. Every single second that passes kills millions of brain cells. This is why doctors say time is brain. The longer the delay, the more of your brain you lose. Each minute matters. Each moment can decide whether you walk, speak, or remember again. Speed saves lives. When stroke symptoms appear, never wait to see if they fade. Do not rest or hope it will pass. Call 911 immediately. Every minute equals more brain tissue lost. Every delay steals another piece of who you are. Acting fast allows doctors to use modern treatments like clot-busting drugs and catheter procedures that reopen blocked arteries before permanent damage occurs. Jessica's story proves it. 4 days after giving birth, she suddenly felt dizzy. Her legs gave out, her words slurred. Her husband rushed her to the hospital, and doctors infused a clot-busting medication. Her speech returned within minutes, her strength came back, and she held her baby again. She lived because time was on her side. But only knowing this truth is not enough because there is another danger that strikes just as fast and often goes unseen. Act immediately. Every second saves a life. When a stroke begins, every heartbeat decides your future. This is not the time to wait to rest or to hope it passes. A stroke does not pause for hesitation. The brain is losing millions of neurons each minute, and once they die, they never return. That is why acting fast is the single most important step you can take. The faster a person reaches the hospital, the greater the chance of walking, speaking, and living normally again. Doctors call this the golden window. Within the first few hours, clot-busting medications and emergency catheter treatments can reopen blocked arteries and save parts of the brain that would otherwise be lost forever. But these treatments only work if help arrives in time. Waiting to see if symptoms improve is one of the most dangerous mistakes anyone can make. Imagine this scene. A man suddenly drops his coffee mug. His right arm feels heavy, his words sound strange, his vision blurs. His wife thinks it might be exhaustion and tells him to sit down. 10 minutes later, he collapses, unable to speak at all. The ambulance arrives too late to reverse the damage. That is the harsh truth of waiting time. Lost is brain loss. But just understanding the urgency is not enough because to act fast, you must first know how to recognize the warning signs before they even appear. Recognizing a stroke. The power of be fast. A stroke does not always arrive with pain or drama. It often begins quietly in the middle of an ordinary day. One moment you are fine, the next your body stops listening. Maybe your vision blurs or your words come out wrong. Maybe one hand suddenly feels weak or your smile looks uneven in the mirror. Most people ignore these early signs hoping they will pass. But that hesitation can cost everything. Recognizing a stroke fast is the difference between recovery and lifelong disability. Doctors around the world now teach a simple rule that can save lives: be fast. Each letter stands for a critical sign to watch for and a clear action to take. B stands for balance. If a person suddenly loses balance coordination or feels dizzy for no reason, it could mean blood flow to the cerebellum has been interrupted. E stands for eyes. Sudden vision changes like blurred or double vision or the loss of sight in one or both eyes may point to a stroke. These are early red flags the brain is in trouble. F stands for face. Ask the person to smile. If one side droops or looks uneven, that is a warning sign. The muscles on one side of the face may weaken when blood flow to the brain's motor area is cut off. A stands for arms. Ask the person to raise both arms. If one arm drifts down or cannot lift at all, the brain's control over that side of the body is failing. S stands for speech. Listen carefully. Is the person slurring their words or speaking nonsense? Are they struggling to understand you? Trouble with speech is one of the clearest signs that a stroke is happening right now. Finally, T stands for time. This is the most important letter of all. Time means call 911 immediately. Do not wait to see if the symptoms go away. Do not drive yourself to the hospital. Every minute that passes means more brain tissue lost. Emergency doctors have a small window of opportunity, usually about 3 to 4 hours, to give life-saving treatments that dissolve or remove the clot and restore blood flow. If that window closes, the brain damage becomes permanent. Understanding the BE fast method can literally save a life. Imagine you are having dinner with your spouse and suddenly they drop their fork. Their smile looks strange and their words make no sense. Most people would think it is exhaustion or low blood sugar. But now you know better. You ask them to lift their arms and one arm falls. You grab your phone and call 911. Within an hour, they are in the hospital receiving the right treatment. You just saved their brain, their memory, and their future. Regina, a 58-year-old woman, experienced this firsthand. During a family gathering, she felt tingling on one side of her face. Her daughter noticed her mouth drooping and remembered the BE fast steps. She immediately called for help. Doctors later discovered a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke, that could have become deadly within days. Because her daughter acted fast, Regina received care before lasting damage occurred. The BE fast rule is simple, but its power is enormous. It takes less than 30 seconds to remember, but it can protect decades of life. Your ability to recognize these signs could save someone's future, or even your own. But just recognizing the symptoms is not enough, because the next challenge lies in understanding what causes these blockages deep inside the brain and how to stop them before they strike again. The silent killer inside your body. Behind most strokes hides one ruthless enemy that few people pay attention to. High blood pressure is the #1 cause of stroke, and it often shows no symptoms until it is too late. It slowly weakens the arteries, damaging their inner walls and making them stiff and fragile. When pressure builds, one of those fragile vessels in the brain can burst or become blocked, cutting off blood flow in an instant. That is how a silent condition becomes a life-threatening event. Studies from the American Heart Association reveal that nearly half of adults in the United States have high blood pressure, yet many do not know it. Every day that pressure stays uncontrolled, the risk of stroke climbs higher. Add smoking, diabetes, or high cholesterol, and the arteries become even more vulnerable. It is like filling a thin balloon with too much air. Eventually, it cannot take the strain, and it bursts. The worst part is that this damage builds quietly for years before showing any sign. Hugo, a 62-year-old attorney, ignored his hypertension for years. One night, he felt an explosive headache and collapsed beside his desk. Surgeons later told him that the blood vessel in his brain had ruptured. He survived, but the recovery was long and painful. If he had controlled his blood pressure earlier that night, might never have happened. But understanding the body's hidden triggers is still not enough, because there is another type of stroke that strikes without warning and can deceive even experienced doctors. Why stroke symptoms can be so different? Not every stroke looks the same, and that is what makes it so dangerous. The brain is a universe of specialized regions, each controlling a different part of who you are. When one area loses blood flow, the abilities it manages begin to fade. That is why two people can have strokes on the same day, yet show completely different symptoms. Where the clot or bleed occurs determines everything. If a stroke hits the left side of the brain, it often affects speech and language. Words become trapped, sentences stumble, and the right side of the body grows weak or numb. These are the strokes that steal a person's ability to communicate, even though their mind is fully aware inside. On the right side of the brain, strokes often lead to confusion, poor judgment, or changes in personality. The left side of the body becomes clumsy or unresponsive, and patients may deny that anything is wrong. It is not stubbornness, it is the brain's map losing its sense of reality. When the cerebellum is affected, balance and coordination collapse, making it impossible to walk or even sit upright without falling. A man once described waking up to find he could speak clearly, but could not move his right hand to turn off his alarm clock. He thought he had slept wrong on his arm. Hours later, doctors confirmed a small stroke on the left side of his brain. That tiny clot changed his life forever. But even understanding why symptoms differ is still not enough, because what truly decides who gets a stroke in the first place lies in the habits we live with every single day. The hidden risk factors you cannot ignore. A stroke rarely happens out of nowhere. It is the final warning of years of silent damage inside the body. The biggest enemy of all is still high blood pressure, the silent force that tears at the walls of your arteries until they finally give in. But it does not act alone. Smoking, diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity, and heart rhythm problems like atrial fibrillation all join the attack. Each one adds pressure to your blood vessels, making it easier for clots to form and harder for blood to reach your brain. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that people who smoke have twice the risk of suffering a stroke compared to non-smokers. Diabetes thickens the blood and damages the lining of arteries, turning them rough and sticky, the perfect surface for clots to cling to. High cholesterol works quietly too, building plaque that narrows the arteries over time. Combine these conditions and your brain becomes a ticking time bomb. Even family history plays a role, but lifestyle choices often decide when that fuse burns out. The good news is that these risks are not destiny. Controlling blood pressure, quitting, smoking, balancing blood sugar, and staying active can reduce stroke risk by more than 80%. A man named Robert did exactly that after losing his brother to a sudden stroke. He changed his diet, started walking daily, and within 6 months his numbers improved dramatically. He turned family tragedy into a second chance at life. But understanding the causes is still not enough, because the next question is even more alarming. Why are strokes now rising in people who are still young and seemingly healthy? How to prevent a stroke before it happens. Knowing the risks is powerful, but true protection comes from daily habits that keep your brain and heart strong. The good news is that most strokes are preventable. Studies from Johns Hopkins University reveal that up to 80% of strokes can be avoided through consistent lifestyle changes. Prevention is not about perfection. It is about small choices made every single day that build up to long-term safety. First, control your blood pressure. Keep it below 120/80 whenever possible. Monitor it at home, and if you are on medication, take it exactly as prescribed. Second, quit smoking. Every cigarette constricts your arteries and thickens your blood, raising the odds of a deadly clot. Third, manage your blood sugar and cholesterol. Choose foods that protect your arteries: fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, olive oil, and nuts. Limit processed foods, salt, and trans fats that stiffen your blood vessels. Your plate can be your medicine or your poison. Exercise is another lifesaver. Even 30 minutes of brisk walking 5 days a week can lower your stroke risk dramatically. Keep your weight in a healthy range and sleep 7 to 8 hours each night to allow your vessels to repair. Stay connected with people you love, because loneliness and stress can quietly damage the heart and brain. Evelyn, a retired teacher, used to fear stroke after seeing her husband suffer one. She began walking each morning, added leafy greens and berries to her meals, and practiced gratitude journaling before bed. Today at 71, her blood pressure is perfect, her mind is sharp, and her energy feels decades younger. But even living wisely is only part of the story, because there is a growing mystery that explains why strokes are now appearing in younger generations. A stroke can change a life in seconds, but knowledge can change it back. Everything you have learned today comes down to one truth. Prevention starts with awareness and action. Control your blood pressure, keep your heart strong, move your body every day, and eat real food that nourishes your brain and arteries. These simple choices may seem small, but they are the line between fear and freedom. You are never too old or too late to begin again. If you have high blood pressure, talk to your doctor about a safe plan. If you smoke, make today the day you quit. Add more fruits, leafy greens, and whole grains to your meals. Drink water, stay active, and check your numbers regularly. Every healthy habit you create is a quiet promise to your future self. It is not about perfection, it is about progress, one smart choice at a time. Your body wants to heal, and science has shown it can when you give it the chance. You have the power to protect your brain, restore your energy, and keep your independence for years to come. In our next video, we will explore the top foods that strengthen blood vessels and naturally lower blood pressure to protect you from future strokes. You will see how everyday ingredients in your kitchen can work like medicine for your heart. If this video helped you, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and save this video so you can revisit these life-saving tips anytime. Share it with someone you love. Your knowledge might save their life. Take care of your health today, because every heartbeat you protect is a victory for your tomorrow.